Top story this evening. It's not really a story from Kerala, but it's a story about Kerala and some sections within Kerala. Real stories, some claims being made that the numbers are exaggerated as being portrayed by the filmmakers. But this is a movie that is making all the headlines. It's filmed on ISIS Brides, and it's a movie that everyone's talking about. The Kerala story is set to hit the theatres on the 5th of May, in a few days from now. But before that, a huge political storm over the issue, with the opposition claiming that the movie is made simply to polarize a single community. And as the story progresses, let me go straight to Vipul Shah, the producer, joining us on the biggest story tonight, along with Ada Sharma, who's the actor. Vipul and Ada, thank you for joining us. And we are told that Sudipto Sen, the director, will also be joining us live in a few minutes from now. Okay, I'll just fix that frame. Vipul and Ada are joining us live. And as I fix that frame, all right, happening on live TV. Vipul, let me ask you first. Here at Republic TV, we've recorded stories of some of these ISIS brides, for example, in Afghanistan, who want to return home. They want to come back to India if possible. The families have been fighting. And there are several of them. Let me tell you the names of some of these stories that we've covered. Nimisha, alias Fatima, Sonia Sebastian, alias Aisha, Shamshia Kuria, Merin Jacob, alias Mariam. There could be more. But people are asking about your number of over 30,000. Where did you get that number from, and why do you stand by that number?
Good evening, Niranjan. When you make a film which is talking about an uncomfortable truth, quite often people find an obscure reason to discredit it. And the easiest reason is to talk about numbers. Let's assume for a moment that number that we have portrayed is not 32,000 and it's less. Say it's 30,000, it's 28,000, it's 25,000, or even if it is 500. Is it not a huge number? Is it not a huge human tragedy? So let's not shift our focus from the issue of the human tragedy. I am choosing to talk about the human tragedy. Somebody wants to debate the number. I am looking at the human pain, the suffering that these girls have gone through. Somebody wants to make it into a number game. So that is the real debate. And this is the easiest way to discredit the truth of the film by saying, look, that 32,000 number is questionable, so the film is fake. Whereas the film is actually about three girls' story. One of them you just named, and two other girls who have been manipulated, a conversion through manipulation, and then their lives were ruined. So the film talks about that. A film's teaser spoke about 32,000 as a number. I can assure you that we have enough evidences to show that our numbers are correct. But I don't even want to get into that debate today. I want to talk about the human tragedy. I want to talk about the sufferings of these girls. So that is our choice.
Globally, and Sudipto Sen is also joining us. Sudipto, before I come to you, I just want to get to know. Okay, let me come to you, Sudipto, first. Ada, I'm just coming to you next, okay? Sudipto, globally, this story of ISIS brides has captured people around the world for many reasons, and the brutality that many of them had to go through, children included. And it is the truth. I mean, here at Republic TV, we've chronicled some of the stories of how men, women, children were taken forcibly, in many cases, to join the ISIS. Now, when people call it propaganda, now it is real, it is a fact that it happened. But when people call your film propaganda, film that is created for a narrative, film that is benefiting a community. Now, these are some of the comments they are making. How do you respond to these comments, Sudipto?
The point is, when we started working on the film, that is exactly 7 years back, I was traveling alone, or sometime I used to, some of my friends accompanied. And when we chased the stories one by one, first Athira Hadia case, then Shruti's case, then one after another cases we started following. after a point of time, we realized the number is, only staggering. It's a humongous amount of human tragedy going on, just using the loopholes of the Indian law. Now, just keeping the Indian example aside, the world was reeling under the issue of trafficking. If you chase the story of ISIS, all those 7-8 years of ISIS peak, every month 25 to 30 girls from Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, South America used to join ISIS. Now what had happened is, these issues nobody was into denial mode. Everybody accepted, yes, this trafficking is happening from all over the world, and India was not away from that. So Indian girls were also being targeted, and there are certain socio-political realities in Kerala which was compelling the whole thing happening, or accentuated, or the number suddenly become very staggering, because there are some political compulsion, socio-political issues are there. But when we started, putting together all the cases, we found the pattern there. Now, in that pattern, we realized that we all are involved. I mean, no matter my sister or my mother or my sister-in-law may not be part of these incidences, but almost every second or every third household in Kerala experiencing this kind of human tragedy. Now you tell me, we picked up 3 stories of the huge number, huge human tragedy, and we graphically, clinically told the story of these 3 girls. Now the entire process, where the propaganda stands, propaganda is, we would have called it propaganda if we would have put our own narrative. But in this film, we stand by every sentence being told by our actors, every scene being shot. There is not a single, if you find anybody can figure out any fault into it, we are available to say sorry to that. Censor board kept our film for 2 months. They scrutinized through Muslim scholars, they scrutinized through historians, and finally we get a certificate from CBS. Now you tell me, our hard work, our hard-earned money, censor board, all are redundant. Only few political masterminds, political some kind of traders are terming it a propaganda or an agenda film without watching that. Now,
yeah.
Do you think as a creative, as a filmmaker, I should reply that?
See, obviously, some of the I'll tell you some of the ridiculous comments being made today, Ada. There is one political party, a political party, which has representation even in Parliament, saying that we'll give you 1 crore rupees if you prove that these things happen. And there is, as a counter, there is another advocate who came out and said, I'll give you 11 crore to prove that it did not happen. It's hilarious, but somewhere, and you go through some of the videos, and these videos are in public domain of these ISIS brides, and specifically from Kerala, there are videos of them giving interviews in Afghanistan, some on candid camera with their children seated next to them. These are real stories. You can't deny what happened, right? And that human side somewhere, is it getting lost in the politics, Ada?
I'm a girl and I find this really scary. So I go on social media today, and the first thing I see is our film was trending on #1 of the most awaited films of this year. And also I was like, yay, I was really excited. And the next thing I saw, my timeline looked like the stock market, because people were throwing numbers in exchange for human lives. And I thought that's very scary. That's so scary to read as a girl. That's what our film is about, actually. We are trying to tell you that girls were manipulated for money. The gains that they got to send them to ISIS, those boys got money to woo the girls, to make them fall in love with them, to manipulate them, brainwash them. They were raped, drugged, and were taken off to the ISIS. And I just thought that human life has become so cheap now that we just sell it at, you put your price, you put your price. It almost became like a bidding thing. So I don't know, for me, I think even if it's just one life, one girl who's gone, it's a lot. But maybe people don't feel it because it's not their person. It's somebody else's daughter, somebody else's mother, somebody else's sister who went. But if it was your own sister, your own friend who was taken away or was drugged, would the number still matter? Would you be still counting and saying, in this number, one of my person? No, then the number you'd put totally aside and you'd only speak for one person who's your person. So I think it's a really sensitive issue. I hope as human beings we can be more sensitive. However, we live in a free country. I'm really happy we live in a free country where there's freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of word. Unlike in the movie, they take me to a place where there's no freedom of thought. I wouldn't be able to talk to you like I am now if I was the character I was in the film. So I think everyone's freedom of thought should be respected. But our movie is now releasing, so maybe they can watch the film. And I promise you, there's nothing derogatory said about Kerala. I am from Kerala, so, and our makers are reputed people. They won't make a movie that says anything derogatory about a state. In fact, we've shown Kerala to be really beautiful.
Yeah, that's a shortcut many politicians and political parties take, but I won't get to that. But what I do want to talk about is what many, I feel, even TV channels perhaps not paying attention to the human suffering of it. Because I still remember we spoke to the mother of Nimisha, who several years back was fighting to bring her daughter back when she had the chance. When did she have a chance? When the Taliban had not yet taken over Afghanistan. Now the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan. Perhaps she will never see her daughter. We don't know. But India doesn't want them back. And the stories are many, isn't it, Ada? I'll just take one more question to you. The stories are many. Why don't you tell us some of these stories of, the case studies that you researched, perhaps, while making this film?
To explain these stories in a few sentences is just telling it so short. It's almost like you have to watch. Even our film is a 2-hour film. We try to put in everything that we can. But these girls have lived lives like that. You can't imagine one day like that. Imagine if you were a girl, a simple situation, and you're any person, and I take away your mobile phone for a few hours, you'd probably freak out and get withdrawal symptoms. Imagine being in a place where your phone is taken away from you. You don't know when you will get your next meal, and you're being physically abused. You don't know when you can talk to your family, or you might never see them ever again. So our movie covers a lot more different girl stories. There's a lot. So I'm sure once you watch the film, you'll love.
Yeah, I haven't watched the film, so I'm curious to see. Vipul, briefly, if you can tell, you must be under a lot of pressure. I've been looking at all the, it's good publicity, right? It's good publicity. Any publicity is good publicity, but I'm not talking about that. But when you get all of these brickbats, right, and the comments and these politicians having a go at each other, how do you deal with it?
I think the only way to deal with it is not look at it, because that's one humble request that we've made to all politicians, that please watch the film. After watching the film, we are ready to answer your criticism. But before watching the film, if you're going to jump the gun and you're going to discredit us, that's going to be a bit unfair. But fair, whatever everybody's individual stand is, we respect that. I just want to say that as filmmakers, as a team, we are right now looking at taking this film to as many daughters, as many mothers, as many fathers as possible. We want the whole country to see the film. So, finally, it will be the audience which will decide whether our story has value or it is just some junk.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if it connects with the audience, and if audiences find some value in our messaging and our film, then I think we will be very, very satisfied. And again, as I'm saying, we are open for a debate.
Yeah.
It's a democracy and every political party has a right to express their views. We respect that. But this is our counter, that watch the film and engage with us.
The most ironic, and my last question to Sudipta was saying, the most ironic aspect of it all is the so-called liberals asking for a ban on the film. I actually read a few people of these parties that claim to be fighting for freedom of speech saying they want a ban on the film. And you're saying, Sudipta, you stand by every scene in this film, every scene, every story.
The thing is, every line we stand by, every word spoken we stand by. Sir, if you don't want to watch the film, then I have a doubt that you want to hide something. Why you want to hide something? We are talking about three girls being trafficked. The three girls being cheated. Now, who has cheated? Some terrorists. Because it is not only in our country. It is in Europe, it is in America, it is in UK. There are more than 700 girls right now in the same jail where our protagonist Shalini is there. Now, just imagine that in a country when we are talking about terrorists, people say it is Islamophobic. How come talking about a terrorist become an Islamophobic? They only told us that a religion, that terror has no religion. So now these people are relating. It is not we. Actually, the people who are seeking ban, they are trying to say that you are Islamophobic, you are talking about the terrorist. So what do we understand? But sir, we don't want to get into any politics. We don't want to get into any phobia. We are filmmakers. We made a film, and I think whoever has seen the film, sir, I just wanted to add on. There are few journalists has seen the film in Bangalore. There was a test screening was going on. Before that, those journalists jumped on me to ask about 22,000. I just requested them, folded hand, told them that see the film. I will be standing here, and coming out of the screening, ask me the same question. Trust me, they came out and they said, Sudiptoji, we are not going to ask you the question. We got the answer.
Interesting. Let's see what happens on the 5th of May. Looking forward to this film. Thank you, Ada. Vipul. Yes. Okay, last word, Mr. Vipul. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to say to everybody that this film is not against Kerala. This film is not against any community or any religion. This film is against terrorism, and we will stand by every word that the film has in itself. So absolutely want to make it clear that this film is not against anybody that they are trying to make us to be.
We request you all through you that please come to the auditorium, to the cinema hall in large number and see the film and prove them wrong that this film is a film where we all Indians should stand by. Thank you.
Okay, Sudipto, Ada and Vipul, thank you for joining us on the biggest story tonight. All the best. That's the biggest story tonight, the biggest political controversy as well. We'll take a short break here on Republic TV. Coming back with some breaking news, some good news, in fact, that we had on the economic front. We'll get you some details of it when we come back. Stay tuned.